Elena Hart was a powerful CEO known for closing billion-dollar deals and leading a global company with confidence. But tonight, she wasn't in a boardroom. She was at a quiet restaurant dinner with her 3 deaf triplets sitting across from her. The children were laughing through sign language, their small hands moving quickly as they shared stories about school. They tried to catch their mother's attention, eager to show her a drawing and tell her about their achievements. Elena kept glancing at her phone. Emails. Calls. Messages from investors. She nodded absent-mindedly but barely looked up. The pressure of running her company weighed heavily on her mind. The triplets slowly lowered their hands. They noticed she wasn't watching. She wasn't responding. To them, silence didn't hurt, but being ignored did. A stranger sitting at the next table observed everything quietly. He saw the children trying again and again, while their mother remained distracted by work. He finished his drink, stood up, and walked toward their table, not with judgment, but with something unexpected in his eyes. The stranger pulled out a chair and sat down without asking permission. Elena finally looked up, slightly surprised. "Excuse me?" she asked. He smiled gently and turned his attention to the triplets. Instead of speaking loudly or awkwardly, he started signing, slowly but clearly. The children's eyes widened. Someone knew their language. Elena froze. She didn't know he could sign. She didn't even know her children had noticed him watching. The stranger introduced himself as Daniel, a former teacher for deaf children. He began asking the triplets about their favorite subjects and hobbies, using sign language with confidence and respect. For the first time that evening, the children felt seen. Their hands moved excitedly as they answered every question. They laughed, not silently but happily. Elena watched carefully. She felt a strange tightness in her chest. Her children were glowing, and it wasn't because of her attention. It was because someone else had taken the time to understand them. Daniel then turned to Elena and signed slowly. "They are beautiful. But they need presence, not just provision." His words hit her harder than any business loss ever could. Elena felt defensive at first. "I provide everything for them," she replied. Daniel nodded respectfully but continued signing. "They don't doubt your love. They feel your stress." The triplets were watching their mother carefully. They could sense tension even without hearing words. One of the children gently touched Elena's hand and signed, "Mom, stay." That simple request shattered the wall she had built around herself. Elena realized something painful. Her success had slowly consumed her time. She worked hard to give her children opportunities, therapy, education, and comfort. But she had stopped giving them her full attention. Daniel encouraged her to put the phone away for just a few minutes. Reluctantly, she placed it face down on the table. Silence filled the space, but this time, it wasn't uncomfortable. It was intentional. Elena started signing awkwardly but sincerely. The triplets giggled at her mistakes and corrected her gently. For the first time in months, she wasn't a CEO. She wasn't managing employees or investors. She was simply a mother, learning, laughing, and reconnecting. And that shift changed everything. Daniel continued engaging with the children, encouraging Elena to join every conversation. He asked the triplets what made them happiest. They signed together. "When Mom watches us." Elena's eyes filled with tears. She realized attention was their greatest gift, not expensive toys or private tutors. She promised herself something quietly in that moment. No matter how demanding work became, she would create daily time where her phone stayed away and her focus stayed on her children. Daniel shared a story about other families he had worked with. He explained how children, especially those who communicate differently, need emotional connection to feel secure. His words weren't criticism. They were guidance. The atmosphere at the table transformed. The triplets showed Daniel their drawings. They signed about dreams of becoming artists, athletes, and even future entrepreneurs like their mother. Elena watched them confidently express their dreams. She saw potential she had overlooked because she was too busy chasing corporate success. She understood something powerful. Leadership at work meant nothing if leadership at home was neglected. The stranger wasn't there to judge. He was there to remind. Before leaving, Daniel stood up and signed one final message to the triplets. Always remember your voice is strong, even in silence. The children smiled proudly. He then turned to Elena and added, Your success will mean more if your children feel it with you. With that, he left the restaurant as quietly as he had arrived. The table felt different after he was gone. Not empty, but transformed. Elena reached across the table and held her children's hands. She signed slowly. I am sorry. I will do better. The triplets shook their heads and hugged her tightly. They didn't need perfection. They needed presence. That night marked a turning point for the family. Elena set boundaries at work. She scheduled dedicated time for conversations, learning sign language fluently, and attending their school events. Her company continued to grow, but now her growth as a mother grew alongside it. She often thought about Daniel and the unexpected lesson he brought into her life. Sometimes, the most powerful impact doesn't come from investors or boardrooms, it comes from strangers who remind us what truly matters. And in the quiet connection between a mother and her children, love became louder than silence. Months passed after that dinner. Elena's employees noticed a change in her leadership. She became more patient, more empathetic, and more attentive, not only at home but in business decisions as well. Her experience with her triplets reshaped how she viewed communication. She began promoting workplace inclusion programs and supporting accessibility initiatives within her company. She understood now, inclusion wasn't just a policy. It was personal. At home, dinner became a sacred time. Phones were removed from the table. The triplets eagerly shared their daily achievements through sign language, and Elena responded with full attention. Sometimes they would joke about the night the stranger sat down. Maybe he was our guardian, one triplet signed playfully. Elena smiled, knowing he was simply a human being who cared enough to intervene. The memory of that moment stayed with her forever, not as a reminder of guilt, but as a reminder of growth. She realized that success is meaningful only when it is shared with the people who matter most. And every time she looked at her children signing confidently and laughing freely, she felt grateful for that stranger who taught her one powerful truth. Attention is love. Presence is power. And family always comes first.